Coldplay with this one they call the Viva La Vida. And you say you're dedicating this one to who?
Ali Bongo.
The outside president of Gabon, huh?
Yes.
Why? He used to rule the world, huh?
Yeah.
He used to rule his country.
I mean,
he used to rule his country, not the world, actually.
Is that the streets that he used to own now, he's sweeping it.
All right, so let's now get to serious matters right now. And we're all glad that you've made time to tune into Love 99.5 FM to be a part of today's edition of Love in the Morning. Now, as you listen to us on radio, I'll plead with you, get some data, log on to our Facebook page and get to appreciate the conversation we're about to have this morning. And you can find us on Facebook on LUV 99.5 FM. That's how you can reach us on Facebook. Now, I'm asking you to join us on Facebook simply because of what we have to show for you this morning. And so please, and share so that people would also get the opportunity to appreciate the conversation we're about to have this morning. Now, before I tell you about it, listen, let me tell you about KFC. KFC says they've dropped the price. So the question is, you don't have to drop your favorite meal. Have you done that? If you have, you don't have to drop your favorite meal. Enjoy the delicious Streetwise 2 for only 39 Ghana cedis at your nearest KFC restaurant. Limited time, unlimited goodness. And for your information, KFC is always finger licking good. All right, so in today's Ghana, 3 Ghana cedis can no longer pay for the Chibom, or the 45 Ghana cedis is not enough to for a bag of cement. Thanks to Prudential Life Insurance Ghana's Mekrawa, you can secure your future and that of your loved ones with as little as 3 Ghana cedis. All right, Mekakrawa, that's Mekakrawa. Yes, so with as little as 3 Ghana cedis, you can do so many amazing things. Now, Mekakrawa protects you and one dependent in the event of death, critical illness, and total permanent disability. All you have to do is to dial *778# on MTN today and join the Mekakrawa family and protect your future. Listen, the future is unknown, and sickness and diseases and deaths can come at any point in time. But if you prepare adequately for it and it comes, you have the peace of mind. Meanwhile, go for gold and bet risk-free on the new season with Betway. Use the golden booking code found on the Betway site to bet on selected match weeks from 11th of August to the 3rd of September and get 100% back as a free bet on any losses. You also get way more with Betway. Terms and conditions apply. It's regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana and it's not for persons under the age of 18. Betway, get way more. All right, so, and let me tell you about Syntex, all right? Now, what is your preferred color of tank? Leo, what's your preferred color of tank?
I like the usual black.
Syntex has it. What guarantee do you want? Well, as many as you want, Syntex has it. What kind of inner layer do you want, Leo? Is it double, triple, quadruple?
Yeah, ding.
Well, for your information, as many inner layers as you want, Syntex has it too. So remember, no matter what your water needs are, Syntex has it. Syntex tank, you're strong and you're tough. It is also open there. Syntex is where you need to go buy those water tanks from. And they have over 300 agents nationwide, so you can call them on 0244 335 168. If you want to order a tank, just call 0244 335 168. You can also visit Syntex on social media at Syntex GH. That is Syntex at Syntex Ghana, or you can shop online on www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, you're strong and indeed you're tough. Well, my guest has joined me in the studios of Love 99.5. His name is Engineer Emmanuel Rokombrobe. All right, and he is a clinical a clinical engineer. Let me put it that way, clinical engineer. Now, you might be wondering why he's here. Listen to this. As you and I are very much aware, Ghana spends huge sums of money to import medical equipment and many others for our healthcare needs, and our healthcare needs vary, all right? From prosthetic hands, and that's when we talk about the prosthetic, hands, we're talking about people who have had their arms amputated. It could be, so the limbs, they could have their legs amputated, and so some of them will walk in crutches and they'll be hopping on our streets. Elsewhere, they have prosthetics, and what it does for them is that it can help them or aid them to walk. In some instances, they even run in their prosthetics. The others who have the arms, sorted out with these prosthetics, so when you dress, you don't see a deformity in there. So we import these things into our country. Also, there's something called the swelling viewer. The swelling viewer, for those of you who want to have refractions done, you want to check your eye and all that, when you go to see the optometrist, they will ask you to read some things from a distance, and that is what is called the swelling viewer. We also import theater lamps for surgeries. I mean, not long ago, there was a hospital up north where DCG disconnected their power for non-payment of bills, and we were told that doctors on duty had to use what they call it their torchlight lamps to conduct the surgery, which of course is dangerous, is risky. Also, we have photography devices that we import into this country. Now, photography devices are for the treatment of jaundice babies, and we import all these things into the country. Wheelchairs and all, we bring them into this country. So as a nation, we all know that we spend millions of dollars on the importation of these, medical equipment. Interestingly, a Ghanaian engineer, and that's why I refer to him as a clinical engineer, has been able to manufacture some of these items at a cheaper cost. Unfortunately, he has not gotten the requisite support, so he can improve upon it and produce them in large quantities. Now, if you join us on Facebook right now, we are going to show you pictures, images of some of the things that he's been able to produce or manufacture. So we'll start off with the prosthetics. So Joel, if you don't mind, let's start with the prosthetics, and I'll just explain what the prosthetics does. So question is, how come in Ghana, when somebody has the ability to do production of some of these things, how come we don't give the person the necessary support or push to be able to do a very good job? Now, earlier, myself and Luciano were talking about, Kantanka vehicles, and you know that Kantanka has been in existence for decades. It was not long ago that I realized that even in Kumasi, there were a few pickups of Kantanka's production in the region. I went to Accra on Saturday, and on my way to Accra, and in Accra, I saw loads and loads of Kantanka's vehicles, and I was happy about it. But it's taking so long, and again, you ask yourself, how many people have even bought Kantanka vehicles? Not long ago, we had a gentleman join us in the studios of Love 99.5. His name is Nimo. Now, Nimo would take plastics, the normal plastics, and then produce diesel out of it. And he demonstrated to us how the diesel works, because we put it in a generator and other things. It worked beautifully and perfectly. Again, Nimo hasn't gotten the right support so he can produce in large quantities. And you and I know how much, a gallon of diesel costs right now in Ghana. So this gentleman, who is, like I said, an engineer by profession, his name is Emmanuel Rokumbrobe, has been able to manufacture a few things, produce a few things. And on Facebook right now, we're showing you the prosthetics that he's able to produce. All right? And so he's going to be telling us about his production and how come we don't know much about it and what help he needs for him to be able to do much more than he's doing right now. Emmanuel, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And I trust you're well.
I'm very fine, by God's grace.
Well, my listeners are listening to us on radio. My viewers are watching us on Facebook. Tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Emmanuel Rokumbrobe?
Right. Emmanuel Rokumbrobe is a researcher and an innovator. Yeah, he can add inventions as well. I invent a lot. I started from a humble beginning, with a humble beginning from KO Methodist School within Ashanti New Town. And then I moved on to KNUST Senior High School, then known as Technology Secondary School. And then from there, for my interest in technical education or engineering, I came to Kumasi Technical Institute. And then from Kumasi Technical Institute, I proceeded to Kumasi Technical University, then known as Kumasi Polytechnic. And then finally, I ended up at KNUST, Kumasi, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. My interest has been with engineering, all walks of engineering, from mechanical, electrical, biomedical, everywhere, everything about engineering. But my specialty is in electrical engineering. Okay.
And now you work with Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital?
Yes, I work at Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital.
Which department do you work at? What do you do there?
Electrical engineering unit. Everything electricity. My unit and myself, we handle that.
All right. So when I heard about you through one of my colleagues, I was indeed impressed. I was awed by what you are able to do. How did it come to you? I mean, yes, you said everything engineering you have an interest in, but when it comes to the invention or the creation of medical equipment, how did it come to you?
Right. I have sympathy for the needy. And anytime I see something going wrong, I try to find out for myself what I can do to actually support or normalize things. So working across health institution, I usually come across people with amputated arms and then legs. So when I come back home, I reflect on them and then try to push in something. I walk across, I wouldn't say my hospital, but other places. You go to a typical village in Ghana, and then you realize that even wheelchair is a problem. Somebody is having a back problem, and then the person is carried on shoulders from consulting room to the ward, and we end up adding more injuries to the existing problem. So I try to come out with something, and then I ended up creating or coming out with a wheelchair. That is how come the things just drop. And then it's a God-given talent. I see things. It's not only about clinical engineering items, but anything engineering. I see things and I try to find solutions. So I've done a lot. All right. So listeners, let's go back on Facebook and share pictures and images of some of the things that he's been able to do. And then when you see them for yourself on Facebook, you can drop comments and tell us what you make of it. So, Joel, let's start with this one. Let's look at the drip stands. Now, if you go to any clinic or any hospital, they have the drip stands. Not this one, Joel. They have the drip stands. That's the stand that they put the drips on, or it's what we call the infusion, and then they give it to patients who are on sick beds or on admission. Listeners, join us on Facebook and see what we're about to talk about. We're beginning with the drip stands. Now, you know that there are some hospitals, Leo, when you go, even when they want to hang the drip, because they don't have the drip stand, some of them will look for windows and hang the drips from the windows while they give the infusion to the patient. You have been able to put together a drip stand. Now, Joel, if you don't mind, Charlie, Joel, don't do this to me, my brother. I want us to see the drip stands right now. We want to talk about the drip stands right now. And so those are some of the drip stands. So listeners, if you join us on Facebook, for you to get to know that this was made from Ghana, he tries to put the Ghana flag there, just for a form of identification. Now, we just simply do not import these drip stands. We also import the screens. Those are the metallic stuff with the green cloth there, so that you don't see the next patient or what is happening to him or her when you are even in the same ward with the patient. So tell us about these drip stands. And I was saying a while ago that when it comes to the drip stands, which of course we go to every hospital, they're supposed to have it. Some do not have it, and they hang the drips on windows. Yet you have been able to put this together. Tell us about it. Yeah, as if you were there when I was trying to put things together. You know, I visited a hospital somewhere, and then I realized that they were struggling. The nurses were struggling to, put some privacy on the patient. They were having one screen at the ward, and then somebody wanted to ease himself, and then I saw them struggling. So when I came back,
and there was no screen.
There was one, and the doctor was already working on the patient.
Okay.
And then another person wanted to ease himself, and then they were.
Was it a screen keke? Do you know how much the screen cost? That small metallic thing there with a green cloth on it. Do you know how much it cost? Was it a screen keke?
So you said that small metallic thing.
Is it screen keke?
Small.
Do you know how much it cost? Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, they were struggling, so the doctor had to, stop the procedure because he was dressing a wound. And then the nurses shifted the stand, the screen to the other patient. So when I came back home, I was so sad. And that very day, I started putting things together. And then concerning the drip stand, like you rightly said, my grandmother was sick, and then we took her to some place. And then I realized that the drip was hung on a nail close to the wall where she was actually admitted. And then I came back home as usual, and then I put things together, and then came with these things. So it's the passion I have for my nation.
So what did you make this out of? I mean, what are the materials you're using?
Metal tubes. Pipes. Common pipes. And
you created this.
Yeah.
And this one is multi-dimensional. From what I'm seeing, there's multi-dimensional, like the ones that we see out there that are imported, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is a simple thing that, so like I was saying, one of such drip stands the second-hand ones, sells at 600 Ghana cedis and above. 600 Ghana cedis and above. Now, those are second-hand, ones. We have to buy them in bulk outside. We have to ship them, and then we have to clear them from the ports. These are all monies, all right? And we are helping somebody else's economy. Now, when we import the second-hand ones, it means that they have better ones they want to use. They think that they have outused those old ones, and they're bringing them in. So, if you can produce this, like we're seeing
which
on
is
Facebook,
brand new.
Which is brand new. If you're producing this in Ghana, and like you rightly said, it's brand new, the money would stay in this country, help our economy, and like Leo also mentioned, it's brand new. If, for example, you were asked to produce this, how much will this cost? Do you have an idea?
For now, no, but I don't think it will go beyond, let me say, I don't think it will go beyond 300 Ghana cedis. I'm just trying to, because
if you want to put this together with the painting, with everything, the metallic, with the measurement cutting and everything, put it together, you're saying it's not going to go beyond 300 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
Well, the home use ones, the cheapest you can have to buy on the market, 600 Ghana cedis. That's what it is.
Of all the tariffs and the import duties and everything on top.
Yes. So we can easily do this in Ghana. And yet we're not doing this. We're importing them. And listeners, if you go on Facebook, you see the works that, Engineer Emmanuel Rekunbebe has been able to do. Medical equipment. Simple thing. Just to hang, what do you call it? A drip on. And Leo, when you saw the pictures this morning, you said, if we go to magazine, we can get them to do more of as many as possible of these things. Let's move on and talk about, another product of yours. And that has to do with an equipment to help babies who are born with jaundice. Now, oftentimes when a baby is born with jaundice eyes and all that, one of the things that we're told for them to do is fund. But elsewhere they have a UV radiator kind of radiant machine that helps the baby to get out of the jaundice situation. And you've been able to do something like that. And this is his jaundice, equipment. In this picture that you see on Facebook, the light is off, but shortly we'll show you one that the light is on. Now, I just want you to appreciate what, as Ghanaians, we have, and the fact that we don't help ourselves to be able to do it on a large scale. So join us on Facebook on LUV 99.5 FM and get to see it for yourself. But if you cannot join us on Facebook, listen, you are hearing the conversation, you're hearing the description that he's giving to us. What do you make of all these things that we can produce here in Ghana, and yet we're not producing them, and yet we're importing them? Why don't we help our own? Why don't we support our own? Our WhatsApp number is 055-1111-995. That's our WhatsApp number. Share your views and your thoughts with us. Again, our WhatsApp number is 055-1111-995. It's not just about Emmanuel, Rekunbebe, engineer. It's about Kantanka and what he's been doing for decades now. It's about Nemo, who can use plastics to produce diesel, and we're not supporting him that much. So tell us about this, equipment that is supposed to help babies with jaundice.
This one, I would say thanks to multimedia. I'm saying this because I was motivated by your story, Next to Die. And these were some of the things that were lacking then. UV lamps, and then 3-4 babies were sharing one at a time, and then according to the pediatrician, those that were even were being infected from other babies who were brought in.
Cross infection,
Yes, so I asked myself as a Ghanaian, what can I do? And started putting things together. So the motivation came from multimedia, and it led to the First Lady coming in to put up a structure at Konfanoche. So she did her part, and I also said, well, what can I also do? And the imported ones, normally they have one switch controlling all lamps, but I designed it such that 4 lamps, this one is having 4 lamps. You can control 2 at a time, 3 at a time, and then 4 at a time. And then even if you want one, you can just switch on. Because the ones I've seen, some are having twin lamps and then single lamps. So the doctors, if they want to, reduce kind of illumination, they just transfer the patient from the double lamp to the single one. So I decided to combine. So if you want one, maybe the person is recovering, depending upon the rate of recovery, you switch all 4 on, you reduce to 3, 2, and then 1, and then finally off. So that's the mechanism.
What materials did you use to do this?
metal plate, and then as you can see, the stand is just like the drip one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bigger tube and then the smaller one to make it adjustable. And then the base and then wheels to make it transferable.
The metal plate, is it the same place that they used to make washing plants for Galamsey?
Yes. You go to magazine, they are there plenty.
How much would it cost you to put this together? This radiant lamp for babies who are battling jaundice.
I did these things before the inflation started hitting us hard. So I'm struggling to get figures.
To attach figures to it, all right?
Yes, but I don't want to give a wrong impression. But all that I would say is it doesn't cost much.
It doesn't cost. Okay, so
yeah.
So I checked. So I mentioned earlier that the drip stand that he did, that he's been able to put together, he says it will not cost more than 300 Ghana cedis. I told you that it's on the market. The cheapest is like 600 Ghana cedis. Now I spoke to people who are into these things. They import the home use ones and come and sell them on the market. The radiant thing, what do you call it? The UV thing. What is the name again for the jaundice babies? This equipment.
Yeah, you can call it radiant warmer.
The radiant warmer and all that. Do you know how much
phototherapy?
Do you know how much the home use one costs on the market? 12,000 Ghana cedis. 12,000 Ghana cedis.
I am nowhere near the figures that you are quoting. Far. In fact, the word is very, 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 very far from the figures that you are quoting. Mine is peanut comparing to what you are saying.
But if question then comes up and I ask, do they really work? I can see the light on. Earlier, Joel projected the one that the lights was not on. Now he has the light on. Are you sure it does what the other equipments do? Does it really function properly?
Sure. You know what? You go to some hospitals and they put normal fluorescent lamps to warm babies to work to work as these ones. So the doctors know they work.
Now, let me ask this question. Have you spoken to anybody from the FDA? Have you spoken to anybody from Standards Authority? Have they tried these things and have they, passed it and said, well, yes, it's come to our attention, to our notice, we've worked on them, and they work?
My brother, I'm a salaried worker, and the country that we find ourselves in. No inventor is rich in quotes, because you spend your money into research, you spend your money into buying material to try. You try several times before you succeed.
Thomas Edison, who is, touted to be the person who brought the light bulb, tried over 1,000 times.
Exactly.
Thomas Edison. He tried over 1,000 times before he was successful for us to have the bulbs now. Now people have, worked on it and we have different kind of bulbs and all that. But he did it over 1,000 times before he succeeded.
Yeah. So you take your salary and then you dedicate about half or more than that into research and all that. Sometimes the whole thing goes. And if you're able to succeed, you just give it to the outside world. This is what I'm capable of doing. Somebody must come in and support. And we've been hearing, you go there and then I'm not saying it is true. But let me dedicate my time into the inventions. Let me think about it. And then somebody comes in to push it. Because I can't carry all the burden on my own. I'm just telling the nation, this is what I'm capable of doing. And I need somebody to come on board.
But if I get it that you have not taken it to the FDA or the Standards Authority,
I'm coming to that point. I haven't gone to the FDA, but I've approached big men in society. Yes, I have my DHL receipts here. I've written to all the big men in society. I'm talking about politicians, opinion leaders, all of them. They know.
And what feedback do you get?
Oh, nothing positive.
Isn't it because maybe you have not been able to convince them well enough about what your production can do? Because if you don't have any certification from the FDA, you don't have any backing or certification from the Standards Authority, how can you convince somebody that this thing really works?
We've been hearing about 1D, 1F. And I think, like a coach, if you are giving a national team to prepare, you don't even wait for players to come to you. You have to open your eyes wide and then poach. Sometimes you go to a typical village, get a midfielder, bring him into the team. You go to Spain, you cannot, you might not even travel. You just get footages. You look at their skills and all that. You bring them on board. So I'm using this opportunity to task environment science and technology ministry that they are the coaches. They have to open their eyes. They have to, one sad story. Let me chip in this. One of my trainees, a guy I was training, I was not hearing from him, and I called him. He said, "Boss, I'm now into movies." So, wow, movies is saying, they say Mitra series. The guy, I could see that the guy was frustrated. Now, what would he so he was not wasting his time. He's now into a movie series. It's not easy pumping in money, and so I have written to them. After the show, I will show you the documents. I have written to them. If I have to mention names, Flagstaff House, I know they are listening. My letters are there, all over.
No, but what I'm also saying is this: in as much as your letters could be at the Flagstaff House or wherever, the right documentation and supporting stuff could get their attention. So if you write to me, for example, if I'm somebody who would want to even support you, but I don't have any proof that this UV light for jaundice babies can really work. Why should I put money into it? Now, the only thing, or one of the things that can convince me, is when I have something from the FDA or something from the Standards Authority. With that absent, I will not be convinced to be able to pump some money into this. Don't you agree?
I agree with you. However, I'm also calling for support. I have not gone to FDA, but I want people to support me to go to the FDA. That is in quote, that in the nutshell, what I want to bring on board. I want people to support me, because it's all about money. I can't just, I'm a salaried worker every day pumping in money, and if I tell you midnight when everybody's asleep, I'm awake working on some of these things.
Well, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing when it comes to the face value of it. I mean, so the drip stands, for example, the screen for example. From what I'm seeing in the pictures and what we're projecting on Facebook, it sounds convincing, and that's what I'm talking about. This drip stand, I don't think is too much of a technical thing that we cannot produce here in Ghana. Yeah. The green thing, at the background, the screens as they call it, is something that is not beyond us. So if for nothing at all, we can say let's support him, push him, encourage him to do more of these things, instead of hanging drips on nails in hospitals.
Look at how much we can, cut back in terms of spending in our hospitals. Because right now, I'm sure if we go and look for the numbers of how much the hospitals spend on importing these things, that it will be,
I tried so hard last night, and even this dawn, I wasn't getting the right figures.
Everybody is tight-lipped about it. And are we ready to even create millionaires like what the Nigerians have done with, say, Dangote in producing cement? Because people like this, we could set up a company for him and then add, people who has the right skills to, manage such a company. He will be the design head or whatever, and then they can create a giant company that will produce these things across to supply, hospitals across the country and maybe export it to other neighbors. But are we ready for that?
And like he mentioned, if you go to some hospitals, they don't have wheelchairs. So you realize that some patients are carried at the back by their family members. They carry these patients at their backs and they climb staircases and all manner of things just to be able to get to the consulting room and all that. And he's been able to produce a wheelchair as well. Now, Joel will be projecting that wheelchair shortly on Facebook as well, also made locally here. So if we encourage him to produce more of these wheelchairs, it's going to go a long way to even alleviate that problem of carrying patients at their back, which of course is very uncomfortable.
Is it not sad to go to a hospital and then you are told that
no bed,
the patient will be waiting in a taxi? No bed, common bed.
Is it about bed or is it about space that's not available?
Both. Some are really not having beds and some are not having space. Some are not having beds. If that's not true, why did recently a politician in Ghana started donating beds to hospitals? They found spaces for the beds to be put there. Yeah.
So that's a wheelchair that he has been able to manufacture or produce locally. And what does it take? The same pipes and some leather. Yeah.
And you go to a consulting room after examining the patient. It is difficult for the patient to go to the ward, and you see people carrying. Even in the cities, it is somehow better.
You see women who have gotten through cesarean, and they have to use the washroom, and the struggle that they have to struggle before they get to the washroom. I'm saying that it's good for them to exercise by walking, but it will be more convenient if they are wheeled, to the place. And there was, when I started engaging with him, there was something he said that years ago we were not really comfortable driving or buying Korea cars. But now, hit our streets. Kia is from Korea. How many people on our streets are not driving Kia vehicles? So play that sound for me when I was speaking to him. And indeed, let me say a big thank you to Kwesi Deborah. It's Kwesi Deborah that brought him to my attention. He said, "Listen, David, there's a gentleman who's doing amazing things out there. Why don't we have a conversation with him?" Take a listen to what he said to me when I engaged him the first time.
Our politicians are quick to talk of brain drain, but it seems they have no antidote to that per their own dealings. Sooner or later, we have to find our way out of the country. Probably they want us to go and develop our things elsewhere so that they carry dollars to come and buy. And that is the situation we find ourselves in as a country. You go to the United States, United Kingdom, and other developed countries, and you find Ghanaian engineers behind the successes of their giant companies producing for us to use dollars to go and buy. And still they will be talking about, they have the gut to talk about the dollar whipping the cedi almost every day. Yes, Koreans started on a smaller note. Not long ago, Korean cars were not strong in the market. But today, what are we seeing? The Koreans accepted their own and they improved upon them. And day in, day out, they are going a step further. But it's not like that in Africa or my own country, Ghana. How do we still continue to import a common syringe into the country and we still expect medical assessment to go down? It can never happen. You go to the hospitals and virtually everything is imported. How do you expect, as I stated earlier, assessment of medical delivery to go down? It can never happen that way. You can never eat your cake and have it. We are our own enemies as Black Africa. Yeah, we shall soon.
All right, so that was a conversation he and I had, and after we had spoken, then he sent a voice note in. But again, for those of you who are on Facebook, please stay there because we're going to surprise you again with some of the things he's been able to do. If you have not joined us on Facebook yet, join us on Facebook right now. I'm going to give you a minute to log on because there are a series of other works that he has done that we have not touched on it yet. And he's going to be speaking to them all right now. So I'm going to give you a minute to join us on Facebook and appreciate what engineer Emmanuel Rekubrobe has been able to do. Do I feel from the sound that I played that you want to leave Ghana? Are you contemplating it?
Yeah, I've already gotten some contacts. People are talking to me, yes, and I'm considering.
They're interested in your work?
Yes.
And they want you to come to their country?
Yes. People are, yes.
Will you go?
I'm still considering because I'm a family man and I have to, yes.
Which countries are we talking about here?
Somebody from Holland made the first contact. I've heard from people from Kenya and then I think about 3 African countries. So I'm just contemplating.
I see.
And even somebody in Cote d'Ivoire wants to accompany me to the Minister of Health there. He has already talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, the person is in Ghana. Yeah,
okay.
He wants me to go with him to Cote d'Ivoire.
I see. All right, so if you are with us on Facebook, check out these things. So, Joel, let's stick to the medical equipment stuff. All right, this one I don't know whether Leo would need it for any action anywhere. But give us some of the okay. So speak to this for me, and for those of you who are not on Facebook, you get to appreciate what it is. I like the color combination. I like the fact that there's the Ghana flag colors on it. What is this?
Yeah, this is a combination of a theater lamp. The wheelchair at the molding stage, okay. The Snelling viewer, this is the skeletal
of the work you began. Okay,
yes.
All right. And so, Joel, let's move on to the next one. Let's do this very quickly. Let's move on to the next one, Joel. And yet there are places where we keep saying they don't have, lamps for what do you call it, surgery. So I can see one dirty water and one clean water. What is this one?
Yeah. Our galamsey.
Let me say contaminated water, because and you're talking about galamsey, so it brings to mind the mercury, the cyanide, and we had a conversation with Professor Sampeni, who talked about the fact that because these things are in our waters, babies are being born with
multiple limbs,
and deformities and all that. So what is this?
Pure water shouldn't conduct. So as you can see, the clean water, though it contains some level of contamination, that's why the bulb is
off.
Yeah, it's not totally
it's not really totally off. Yes, it's dim kind of.
So it's conducting. Yeah, so the same water, I added salt. As and when I keep adding, the bulb start to glow.
Okay.
Yeah, till it got to its saturated point, telling you that if you have conducting element in water, this thing can detect. Like mercury, it can easily detect.
It's sort of like a test kind of equipment.
Exactly. So I use it in the house. If I don't trust the kind of water, I just dip it in.
Okay.
Yeah. If it contains mercury of any conducting element, the bulb will start glowing. Yeah. And salt. Any scientific person scientist will tell you salt conducts.
Okay.
So if you are to add mercury, it will show. So if you pick galamsey water and then you dip it in, definitely it will glow. Yeah.
I'll say ding. Leo, any other picture that we can speak to? Because I'm about to activate the phone lines. Actually, is there any other we can speak to? Ghana, my motherland. So this one is a Snelling viewer.
Snelling viewer.
What?
Snelling.
Okay, yeah. Snelling viewer. Now, Snelling viewer is when you go to the eye doctor, the optometrist, and they will say, read from afar. Can you see? Can you not see? Can you see properly? And all that. And most of them are imported into the country. You have created this or produced this locally.
Yeah.
Did you pick anything foreign to do this, or you did it yourself?
No, everything local.
Everything local.
Everything local.
Wow.
The foreign ones, you only see one-sided
image.
Yes, image. And then if the doctor want to switch, for instance, he's moving from say alphabet to numbers. Yeah, he will just pull or take away the one board and then put another one in. And I decided to combine all. In fact, I have Arabic at the other side. When you turn, yes. So if the person is not comfortable with alphabet or the figures,
just kind of rotate it.
Exactly. It turns. So if you have a Chinese at your clinic and you want him to read, you just turn it. Yeah. And then this particular one, I have an inbuilt lamp, so that when there is much darkness in the room, you can just light on.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, so listeners, you can join our conversation.
You cannot find it anywhere. In fact, it's a first of a kind. Anybody can challenge you.
Join our conversation. You can call us on 0322083596.
Have you patented some of your design?
0322083597, 0322083598. Those are our studio numbers or lines. 0322083596, 0322083597, 0322083598. Let's hear from you. All that you've heard so far. If you've watched us on Facebook, all that you've heard so far, what do you have to say about it? Good morning to you. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Yeah, Dave.
Kofi.
Yes. You have been fascinated by what you see in the studio, which has been produced by the man in the studio. But my worry is that I have listened to his submission very, very attentively. I didn't hear him say anywhere that with all these things that he has produced, he has given them to any medical facility, any hospital, that they are using one, or they have tested it and have proven that it is fit for purpose. He hasn't mentioned any hospital that is using one. And so how can he come out to ask people to help him? If you have given some to a hospital, let's say Komfo-Anokye, they are using it, you can refer your people to Komfo-Anokye. Go to Komfo-Anokye, they are using my product there. And then you sit down with the Komfo-Anokye chief executive. You convince him that now that you are using my product and you know my product is efficient, I want to produce for you. So don't import anything from outside. Just buy it from me at a cheaper price. That is where we begin it. But you haven't given it to any hospital.
All right, so Kofi, he will give you a response. But when it comes to Komfo-Anokye and all, you know that there are procurement processes that we have to go through. You don't just get up and say you're going to give it out. But he's here. He's going to give his own response. SK is on the line. Hi, SK. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Let's hear you, SK.
Yes, anytime I hear things like this, I become sad for the country. I don't know what's wrong with our leaders. I don't know. I can't tell. Those in authority and the influential in our society, I don't know why they find it difficult to support great minds like this gentleman in your studio. I recounted an ordeal I went through trying to just get an FDA certification for a product I came out with when I completed university and was finding it difficult to get a job. It wasn't easy. The up and down, the frustration, it was not easy. It took my wife, who needs someone somewhere at the top there, for me to get this done. That was after so many years. I just don't get it. I don't know if we are sick in this country. I don't just understand us. Why we just simply wouldn't support our own. David, it's sad. I would advise the gentleman to look for opportunities outside this country and go and, David, it's sad.
I hear you, SK. Thanks for joining us. 03220-83596, 83597, 83598 are the numbers you can reach us on. Daniel is on. Hi, Danny. Good morning.
Morning, Dave.
Welcome.
Dave, you are doing well. You are doing a good job. But what I will say is that the colleague that called, you hear what he said. See, anything that will bring this nation into a higher level standard, people will still argue with it. This man has said so many things concerning what he is doing that he has even done some to hospitals. You see, he has a passion of doing it. I always say this. I said, one day, please, people want to call, but because of English, brofunti, takuru munyechi, ama for pa. Ejuma na we so. People like the way you are conducting your work. Look, you said concerning this Kantanka. So didn't the leaders know that this man is doing well, doing great cars, the vehicles that is a high standard vehicles more than Toyota? Didn't the leaders know? We have a pure leadership problem. All that they are after is money. Look, this small election that they face, because of money, they are all going to even elect a leader that will lead them before we elect him as a president. You see what they do because of money. We don't have leaders who we have people who are after money. They don't think about this nation.
I hear you. Thanks for joining us with your thoughts. George, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
George, welcome, boss. Let's hear you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Please, I want to contribute to the discussion. I am really excited about this discussion, and I like the gentleman at your studio, Emmanuel Rekubobe, so much for what he's doing. And in fact, we have similar people like him in Ghana who are doing so much in terms of developing of medical devices for healthcare delivery. I am a biomedical engineer myself, and when you go to the university, there are projects that the students have done, and when you look at the project, you'll be marveled in the sense that these projects can contribute to the healthcare delivery in Ghana. But the problem we are having in the country is that we don't search for such of these things to develop it further. I like what my brother said, that he wanted to get the Ministry of Science and Technology to come in and then help. In other jurisdictions, there are industries and research facilities that are fishing out for some of these products, develop it further, and then bring it into the healthcare setting or healthcare delivery. I was in in Ethiopia in 2018 for a conference. And we were at the conference when the Minister of Science and Technology, rather, invited us for a meeting. He said he wanted to see the leaders for this, invited us for a meeting. We got to his office. The minister had already seated, and when we went there, his message was simple, that he wants to implement technology in his country. And he mentioned that he has two training institutions under his ministry, the Ministry of Science and Technology. And what he wants to do is to do an education center where they will bring some of these equipment that has been developed in the president develop that is
Well, unfortunately, your line is going bad, Josh. There. Let's pick two more calls, all right? Just two more calls, and then we'll call it a day here. But listen, I remember when some years ago we were told that some Nana Drobo had found a cure for HIV. We dilly-dallied along the line, he died. I'm not advertising for anybody, but not long ago we heard about Koa. Now, if you go to South Africa, I'm told that people depend a lot on the Koa product. Now, before it was for HIV treatment, now it's become a food supplement and all that. But in other countries, they would have done far better with these things than we have done. Our two callers are on right now. We have Richard and Nana Kweku. Let me start off with Richard. Richard, good morning.
Good morning, boss.
Let's hear you, sir.
Dave, this attitude of we Ghanaians, I don't know whether it's a generational curse or it's just from our own kind of behavior. I don't know. It happens in the other sectors. Even if you take the football fraternity, for instance, you hire a local coach, and then people will start by biting. And then we'll go and hire a foreign coach, pay him 2 times what we were paying the local coach, and then we will keep mute. A foreign coach who had no fraction of experience of what the local coach has. You see, you go to an interview, put on African wear, and appearance, you are not going to get the desired marks, I'm telling you. Someone will come, put on a tie, and that is what they prefer. Meanwhile, the local attire is our own. We always try to put down our own and then promote the others. And that is why we are not moving forward as a country. And that is why we are always dependent on the other foreign countries. In fact, if we don't change this attitude, this country will not go anywhere.
Richard, thanks for joining us, brother. Let me speak to my final caller on the line. Nana Kweku, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. I'm going to speak on the business aspect of it. We live in a country, well, let me ask you, if someone should invest in this company, whatever he's doing, and then tells him, look, at the end of sales, I'll give you 30%, and he's going to take 70%, will you agree? Asking for me.
Well, he's heard your question, so...
Yeah, and you see, we live in a country where we don't have venture capital, and these people want to do that. They need to recoup their investment. And more or less, he might think he's going to cheat him. But no. When someone invests in your company and gets so much, you first of all brought your product to light, and then you can really do something else, move out of it, that venture capital that you had, and then you can invest more. And then what Kofi was saying, in business, you lose the game. What Kofi was just trying to say that, look, do something. Give it as a gift to 2 or 3 institutions, hospitals, then let them use it. Then you can use it as a bargaining chip because you use it and it's the efficacy on the right thing that is done. So when you go into bargain, that I want you to buy my product, they have something to rely on. Because here's the situation: you've done this, FDA has not been, it's not in, what do you call it, standard board or whatever, standard authority is not in, who is going to trust? And then you live in a country where if they invest and they go and buy it in millions and then it doesn't work, those heads of institutions will have their head on the chopping board.
Nana Kweku, so you asked a few questions. I'm sure he's more than ready to address them. Somebody says, look, I want to invest in what you do. 30% for you, 70% for him. Would you agree?
Believe you me, I'm not in for money, in quotes. All that I want to do is to help my country. So even if, as we speak, if somebody should come in and then support for the thing to be successful, those who know me, they know me. They know me.
Okay.
There are a lot of things in me that I want to bring out. That's all.
The other thing has to do with what Kofi said, and Nana Kweku, reiterated and said, listen, why don't you give it out for free? From where I'm sitting, I'm like, okay, so you say you're a salaried worker. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to produce, let's say, the drip stands, 10, and give it out to, let's say, private health facilities to even use, for them to later come and say, want to buy more, can you do that? Have you done that? Will you do that?
When I use my own money to do and then give to the private facility, right? Why not the private facility coming to me that do it for me?
But
I will not take a penny.
They don't trust the product yet. They don't know about the product yet. So the argument is this: why don't you produce it, give it out for free, and say, listen, piloting, testing.
Okay.
If you like it, instead of you importing or you buying from the market, foreign ones, let me produce for you. Drip stands and co are simple, like I just saw.
I will think about it. I think it's a step in the right direction. However, people shouldn't also forget that I'm a family man. I invest a lot into it. I'm not getting anything back. And if you ask me to continue, I mean, it's a bit of a problem. All that I want to give to Ghana is that this is what I can do. I need somebody to support. People are supporting things, can't people just, leave the slave queens a bit? Slave queens in quotes. People are promoting a lot of things. Even on social media, people are promoting a lot of things. Spending money to promote things that are not even good enough to help us as a country. So, things like this, you will talk and nobody is ready to even give you a dime.
I hear you.
And let me end by saying COVID has taught us a lesson.
Indeed it has.
Yes, it got to a point where nose mask we were struggling to have. And then we came back to our local dressmakers and then tailors that, are we sitting down for a day to come when America closes its borders and then all that, and then we have to plan. We have to plan from now. It starts from now.
I hear you. Engineer Emmanuel Rekunbrobey, thanks very much for your time. And to end, I'd like to say also that some appreciation has come your way. Kofi Anokye showed some appreciation to you. And Joel, if you don't mind, you can project that one too on Facebook. During the COVID time, you worked so hard. And even the presidency also appreciated and acknowledged your hard work. So, yes, Kofi Anokye hitherto is for the doctors and the nurses to have been appreciated based on the work they have done or they do. By you being an engineer in your own small corner, they appreciated your work and they gave you a certificate plus some cash prize, huh? I saw the cash prize as well. And then even the presidency also, appreciated your work. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Maybe it's early days yet. Let's see what comes out. But I'm happy that you took the suggestion of Kofi, who says, listen, why don't you produce some and give it out for free for trial basis, and then people will change their minds and come and buy from you. Try that too, and let's see how it works.
Yeah.
All right, so wake up to a new taste of Bigo Cola. Nothing comes close to Bigo Cola, a drink of joy, both cold and sweet. Bigo Drink is a range of soft drinks developed, bottled, and distributed in Ghana by Trillium Industrial Ghana. Now, Bigo Cola drink offers a great taste and superior value to consumers. Now, for your parties, your weddings, funerals, and all occasions, reach out for Bigo drinks. Now, for the school children, I bet you that is the drink of choice. So, anytime you want to drink to quench your thirst, reach out for Bigo Cola and feel the taste of nature. For bulk purchases, please call 03-221-90877. It's a quality product from Trillium Industries. Later on the Super Morning Show, the conversation is going to be a part 2 of our task conversation that we began yesterday. Yesterday we talked about revenue generation to GDP, what it looked like. Today what we want to talk about on the Super Morning Show is enforcement of existing tax laws. The enforcement of existing tax laws. Rather than the introduction of new taxes, let's enforce the existing ones. That's the conversation coming up your way later this morning on the Super Morning Show. Well, have you been searching for the best place for your IELTS, your SAT and GRE tuition to make your study, scholarship and job acquisition abroad come true? Listen, stop going round. Go straight to Zest Consult. They are the number one place of choice. Zest Consult has taught over 5,000 individuals to pass their IELTS, their SAT and their GRE. Over 3,000 nurses and midwives and other workers have passed their IELTS through Zest Consult to work in the UK and the USA. Some have also used their IELTS to also apply for schools outside the country. Now, a number of students have also acquired scholarships through Zest Consult's help to study abroad for their undergraduate and postgraduate programs through the SAT and GRE tuition. Now, they can help you study in the UK, in USA, in Germany, in Australia, in China, and you can also study under scholarships. Zest Consult is not just into education, because they're into the real estate services as well. They assist in the selling or buying of buildings and litigation freelance. Locate Zest Consult at Kumasi Cultural Center or at DHMSO near the Kumasi Airport. If you want to call them, pick up your device and call them on 0555 631 633. It is 0555 631 633 or 050 9092 Zest Consult. Excellence is their hallmark. All right, so we call it a day for now. We have more coming up your way on the Super Morning Show. But before any other thing, enjoy these messages as they would inform you to go get the things that you're looking for.
Obi invite me say memra wedding. Na me bedroom here. Me share man for dressing. There's more room for improvement. Me say Messi afa me one me gina ha. Mr. Ultimate mo. Me nya kira wo say we ra Ultimate Fashions mo. Refrigerando, Kenneth Cole, Max Fendi, Perry Jacob, and member chefs papa bi. Italian shoes, slippers, sandals, khaki, material trousers, office wear. Enye na wo. Enye member nko a wo. Emma die wo. Emma nyoma ye sheko wedding, party, engagement. Brands from across the world. Ellen Trace, Adriana Papel, Jones New York, Tehari, Casper, any baby keka ho se mo hia mo ho sa na se mo da ne di sa no mo nda ne di spectacularly said ye be ya enkrofo be hu se wodro no edimu wedding gown kolanta de ni nyina wo Ultimate Fashion o mapon wedding no would you take comment here by me?
I like your dressing.
Medase.
Abrantie, why you do?
Oh, thank you.
Hey, why for na barabe?
Oh, Debbie, Edum here. Kumasi Ultimate Fashions, Prisons Runabout, Accra, opposite UTC. Ultimate Fashion. Beauty is our style.
Daffy's Ohimanio. Daffy's Ohima Feminine Mischanti. A massabo so many so Emma. Ye bui and sayente ya ubia. Esa siesi man kasa. Daffy abusuana ekese. Intie dia manfo kafa enupa no ho. Daffy shower gel. Empo na mani. Ye wotuntum de. Ena kokko de. Wo di dware a ema natural look.
Mensu de misu Daffy's feminine cleanse and the capsules ne siesie me ho. Ema me nten carbon bia me gye me hu dia ankasa.
Daffy nupa no. Enwo dance e bebre. Daffy sana. Abama ye nyina.
Open the Dudwitwa. Duffy's Health and Beauty Ewo East Legon American House. Kumasenso ye Bank Tech Hospital. Enye map him for.
FDA aji edwedin kato yato. Aji mensa ye titiri na ayami yaka ho. Doctor say me BP ni me sugar nyina kwosoro.
De wuhia ne Amuzu garlic bitters.
Amuzu garlic bitters.
Ane Amuzu garlic bitters. Ewo herbal shop bia.
Introducing Pick 4 from Game Park Games, the easiest lottery to play and win. Pick 4 numbers from 0 to 9 up to 3 times a day to become one of our daily winners. More moolah, more power. Play online at www.gameparkgames.com or dial *946# to play. Game Park Games is regulated by the National Lottery Authority, not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Pick 4 from Game Park Games. More moolah, more power.
Makion Restaurant, continental and local dishes. Biryani papa fie, kupedia bonsa. Makion Restaurant, continental and local dishes. Biryani papa fie, kupedia bonsa.
Makion Catering Services. Ye nimu fritete. Eduane pa ema hode. Wedi die wie no na wanum so da ho. Na die kumi kura ne se ebo no da fo. Makion Hotel. Supermall baby ada. Amo wenya hoto. Fully air conditioned, free Wi-Fi and a conference hall with modern gadgets. Upe we na upe die. Makion Restaurant. Usube door-to-door services. Sheshe Makion Services. Ewo Kumasi Asukwa. Anase Audio. Makion ni na ufon suni. Fre omu awa matrofo iso 0322-496-249. Anase 0244-417-446. Makion Services. 7 is what we are. Ubedia Bonsano. Ubedia Bonsano.
So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace.
My name is Diana Hamilton, BGMA Artist of the Year 2021 in Brandon.
Some very obvious examples of enforcement lapses. We were talking on the show earlier, and none of my colleagues could remember the last time they went to a restaurant and got a VAT receipt. You know, you would think that that's an obvious thing. I mean, how hard should it be to just go around and ensure that restaurants are tax compliant? What exactly is the impediment in the way of GRA when it comes to proper enforcement?
Yeah, that's a big issue. I don't understand, because I've also been to a restaurant, yes, in fact even a hotel, a resort, and they didn't give me the VAT receipt. I demanded for it, and it was taking me hours, so I left. Okay, and this is not a small. This is a big hotel. It's a big restaurant. They are there like that. That's even former. These are former companies. Then you talk of the informal one. I mean, somebody went to repair a laptop, MacBook laptop. The screen was cracked, and went to repair it just this week, and it cost 4,000 Ghana cedi to repair it. And no receipt was even issued. Wow. Okay, talk less of a VAT receipt. Yeah. Okay, so this is more than somebody's salary for a whole month, and it's at least a VAT of 15% would have given the government some good revenue. So I think the enforcement is lax, and it's a general Ghanaian attitude, because people are employed and they are paid their salary, whether they collected revenue or not, they will still be paid their salary. So we need to find an incentive way of getting people, tax officers, to know that their own salary is also based on enforcing the laws and reaching their target. Yeah. So maybe we have to have a conversation with the Minister of Finance, set a proper target for the GRA, and ask the GRA officer, tax officers, tax inspectors to collect such revenue, and if they don't meet their target consistently for some quarters or year, they should affect their salary, or they should be replaced. I mean, I think it's about time we got people doing job and don't think that they are just there and to take their salary and that's it. It has to be meritorious. But I think it's a general Ghanaian attitude that when you come to taxation, if people know that they can go away with the offences, then it affects their incentive to continue to not comply. The reason we could not do that in Europe, in other places, that the probability that you'll be caught is high. Okay, in economics we studied why people commit crime. The determinants of committing crime is to find out what is the probability of being arrested, if the public, and then what is the probability of being punished if arrested. These are the two determinants. And what is the benefit of the crime? 3. So if the benefit of the crime is high, i.e., if I don't pay the tax, the tax is too high, and that's another discussion we need to find out. If people feel that the taxes are too much, the VAT is too high, the cost of doing business is too high, there are too many taxes, then they have an incentive to not comply. Right. Okay. Or if they think that the taxes are not being used for their benefit, is going into corruption and misapplication and waste, then there's no incentive to comply. That's what we call tax morale.
You know, Prof, now that you brought up tax morale, it's a very interesting point. I read Professor Atuguba's article on tax-paying culture in Ghana. And he made a very interesting observation. He was trying to determine whether Ghanaians, like you said, had very low tax morale, right? And he realized that, well, actually, Ghanaians don't mind paying a tax. They go to church and they pay 10% of their salary as tithe. They pay offering every weekend because they believe they will see an outcome. They will see a result from it. They will get welfare from church members if they have a funeral or whatever. There'll be people gathering around to support them. They believe in an investment in some spiritual future. They believe in these things, and so they're happy to pay for them. Is that the problem with tax? Is it that people don't believe that our taxes will be put to good use for our benefit?
Yeah, I don't know whether you believe. So I think that's the biggest problem. So in my presentation at the Institute of Taxation, I concluded by saying that our tax system must be modernized and made more efficient, and also we need to critically look at fiscal discipline. When people feel that the state is not physically disciplined, when they feel that they see that people enter into politics, some of them were their colleagues, some of them were their juniors, some of the people in politics now, they were my students. Some of them I taught in the University of Ghana. Some came to do their masters, some I taught undergraduate. And then they go into politics, and within 4 years, you see the cars they are driving, you see the houses they are building, you see their lifestyle, and cannot be explained. Okay, these are not foreigners. We know them. Okay, when people see that kind of attitude, opulence, and the kind of lifestyle, extravagant lifestyle that politicians are living, and then they live in their community. Where I live now, and I've been living there by God's grace 12 years, where I've built my house. I basically had to do everything. I bought the land, I built the house. There was no services by the assembly or by any government public agency. When I was ready to get light, I went to ECG. They said you have to pay for the pole. I have to pay for the poles that will connect the light from the last place to my place. I don't know whether I bought 3 or so poles. I had to pay for the cable to draw the light. I have to pay for the labor for the people who were coming to do the work. I needed to pay for